For families who are navigating with autism, speech delay is just not about speech, it's about being understood. So, today in this episode of the Warrior Mommy podcast, we are going to deep dive into the world of speech therapy. From echolalia to AAC devices, from PECs to gibberish to repetitive sentences, all this we are going to talk about with a very, very special person in the studios. She is a guru of her own field. I am really excited to have her in the studios. Sana Sharif, she is a therapist, speech therapist. She has her majors in speech therapy and she is running a center very successfully. And let me clarify here, it's not a paid collaboration. I have heard really amazing reviews about the speech clinic. She's the founder of the speech clinic and I really wanted to have her and talk to her about all these issues. So let's start. Sana, thank you so much for coming and taking time out. I know you're very busy. You're running a beautiful center. We'll talk about it in the end. Welcome to the podcast. And let's quickly start the questions because there's so much we want to talk about. Sana, first of all, speech delays. A normal speech delay and an autism speech delay. What's the difference?
Okay, first of all, thank you for having me here.
My pleasure.
And I know there's a lot of questions from the parents and you're running a beautiful community. I'm so proud of you having 2 boys with autism and doing this for autistic families. I'm so proud of what you're doing. We need more mommies like
pleasure.
you. Okay, talking about speech delay and children with autism, the delays that come in children with autism. When it's a speech delay, it's a delay. The children might have, acquire language a bit slower. They get therapy. They do fill that gap. Okay. But when it comes to speech delay in autism, again, I would like to start this podcast with one thing. If you meet one person with autism, you just met one person with autism. In my 12 years of journey, this is the underline. I always take it. So in children with autism, their speech delays are different in different kids. For some children, they are completely nonverbal. They wouldn't like to talk. For some children, they like to talk, but they have their own way of having language. They want to stick with their numbers, alphabets, shapes, their dinosaur families.
Yeah.
They are just connected with their world of language. And that's the communication is still not there. So even with our nonverbal kids, their communication is not there. So a huge part of speech and language in autism is about communication. Most of our kids has language. They know what's happening. They know what to say. They will say when they want to say. But the communication, when, how, where, how much, that's what is really missing. And that's what our kids are struggling with.
That's the difference. Okay. And how does then autism affect receptive and expressive language?
All right. So most of the time, receptive language, they do have good amount of receptive language in most of our children. That's why they really, like, if you sit with them and if you don't talk to them and give them array of things to match, give me that, give me this, they can really, express without language. But when it comes to expressive language, they really struggle because they also have difficulty to understand facial expression. They have difficulty to, difficulty to connect the two sides of the brain most of the time. They have this difficulty to connect with, okay, I have this vocabulary. Where am I going to use it? Why am I going to use it most of the times? For them, they love to use it when they want to. It's most of the time they love to do their singing when they want to sing, and they will be happily enjoying it. And they could sometimes also relate this singing to a real life situation. Like, for example, while they're washing hands, they would say, this is the way I wash my hands.
With a poem.
Yes, with the poem. But you would not relate it sometimes because they're singing it anyways all the time. But for them, they're trying to connect that language to this. They really mean that I'm washing my hands.
Meaningful.
Yes, it's meaningful. But they're just using that whole chunk to express themselves. So most of the time they express. The expressing becomes as a poem. The expressing becomes sometimes we just say he knows how to say it. I've been received videos from his therapy center requesting, but he's not doing. But for them, it's like, do I really need to respond now? If I need to, I will.
Wow, that's some attitude
Yeah,
there.
yes, right. So again, there's a lot of things coming, their internal motivation to communicate. Okay. Everybody will do something if they are motivated to do so, right? So, and motivation, I do not believe in external motivation. Like, you can ask for, I will give you this if you do this. I'm not a person who really believes in that. It can work for some time, doesn't work after some time, right? So their internal motivation to communicate depends on how you teach them to relate language to communication. This is the language, this is how I use, and this is what I get when I use. So it's as simple as it is. When you go deeper to their level, you really know it.
You need to go to their level. Yeah,
Yes.
that's a very good line.
Yeah.
So, Sana, two words that we hear a lot when we talk about speech and speech therapy, and that's apraxia and gestalt language processing. What exactly is it, and how do you deal with these two things in speech therapy? Is speech therapy different for apraxia kids and for kids who have gestalt language processing? How exactly, like, what is it? Can you quickly explain it, and how do you deal with these two things in the speech therapy sessions?
Okay, so let's first touch apraxia, because I think this is the area. See, speech therapy, autism and apraxia always come together most of the time, because the neural connection in the brain in the two areas are the same. They have difficulties in motor planning in autism, in apraxia. So sometimes kids with autism doesn't have much of the issues in their mouth, so they tend to have that speech sound production and they're easy to go. But sometimes this motor coordination issues really affect the mouth.
Okay.
That's when the apraxia come on board. Otherwise, speech therapy for these kids are easy. You don't have to really bother about the motor coordination in the mouth. But when they have difficulty with that motor coordination in the mouth, then you really need to,
Can you give one small example of
Yes,
apraxia?
exactly. So, for let's say for a child, we might say that child is nonverbal, but you might also see the parent saying he can say "mama," "papa" suddenly at times whenever he wants. When you ask to repeat him,
He won't.
He won't. Right? So this is a typical one example. Or you can say that the child would really look at your mouth and try to make, but that sound is not coming. We've also had kids where they can imitate, right? Really imitate. Say papa, say mama, but there's no sound.
There's no sound.
Yes, right? So all of this, really, it's because the coordination of the muscles, the coordination of the oral motor is not under their control. Okay? We want to teach them how can they do with their control when we ask them to imitate, to do so. So they know they have a lips, a tongue, a jaw, but they don't know how to really move it to make that specific sound. That's why this therapy should be really different. Because in this therapy, what we're trying to make is you have a lips. When you close your lips, you give that feedback to the lips. You close your lips, that's when you get the sound. You do it a lot of time, the repetition, the frequency, and build that connection. That's very important in apraxia. That's how the apraxia therapy is different, a little bit different. So,
because I've seen speech therapists, they're closing their mouth with their hands,
Yes.
and there's a lot of massages and
Yes.
Z-vibe
Yeah,
tools.
exactly,
Yeah, I've
exactly.
seen that. But like, I had goosebumps. I was just thinking for a second, like, imagine you're trying to talk, but the words are not coming
Yes.
out. I have goosebumps. It's so like, just imagine for the child. We get frustrated as parents,
Yes,
like, why
yes.
they're not talking, but imagine the child in
and they
that
understand
particular
everything.
situation.
This is the cases where they understand everything. So sometimes in therapy, if we would just joke with them, they will give a nice smile. So for me now, I can really connect with every child, when they're trying and when they're not trying. There are kids that they know and they don't want
It's a
to try.
spectrum after all.
Yeah. So
with apraxia, if you'll quickly give 2-3 easy tips to the parents who are at
Yes.
home and who cannot go to therapy for any particular reason, what would you give? Like, they tell you to do this massage and put pressure.
Yes.
But one thing I really want to mention here is the sensory problems. They don't want anybody to touch their face. Like,
Yes,
excuse me, don't even come
exactly.
closer. So what would you suggest here?
Yes. Yes. So basically, for parents who are struggling with apraxia, 3 important things. One is the consistency. whatever you program you get, you are building a new connection in the brain. So that consistency really matters a lot. Okay. Second thing is frequency. So you just go to therapy one time a week is not going to be enough. To being follow up and doing it every day at home, that's fine. Look, I tell the parents, if you can't come every day, that's fine. But go thoroughly with the home program, do it every day, right? And try to make it movement based and multisensory. Movement and multisensory always comes with apraxia. Why? Because our apraxic kids always have sensory challenges.
Yeah.
Yes, and they have movement issues as well. So try to do with movement-based exercises with speech, you're going to win. So if you ask me, if you see your program, you have movement, multisensory, frequency, how many times, and imitation, how many repetitions, you have the right program. It's a little bit different from the language program because here main focus is speech production. Meaning to say we do not, we do not take language away here. This is a situation where we are going to give AAC straight away because we know these children are struggling to communicate.
We'll come to AAC later.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a very important topic as well. And the second part of the question, non-stop or delayed echolalia. Like, children there's this continuous gibberish that they're saying non-stop. There's either a phrase or a poem or a line or a word, apple, 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 snake, I like apples, I like apples. Is it, what does it indicate in children on the spectrum? Are they trying to connect or it's just self-stimulation? How do you differentiate? And some people also label it as gestalt. So, yeah, how do you connect the dots here?
Okay, so in this case, there are a variety of chances. One could be self-stimulatory. One of the area could be self-stimulatory. If they are trying to say that specific line over and over again, and you see them, they're regulating, calming to do that, that is a self-stimulatory thing, okay? However, you see them using a lot of repetition from their favorite show. Like, for example, we will have children love Peppa Pig and then we can teach them anything and everything with Peppa Pig because they connect their language with Peppa Pig. So that's their way of learning language. So that's Gestalt. So they learn language through scripts, through something that they hear in their favorite cartoon. And what should we do in these cases? We should try to make them connect that to what we are doing. So that's called natural language acquisition methods. So we combine this both to make them, to relate them that, okay, wash hands means it's not just Peppa washing hands all the times. When I wash my hands, I can also say, this is the way I wash my hands. This is the way Peppa can wash her hands. So something like this. So in this case, we have to connect with them. All right, this is their way of learning language. And in this type of learners, this is quite normal for them to learn this language in this way. All right, so during these times, what I would recommend parents is join them. Listen to them. What are they gestalts? What are they talking about? They're talking about the favorite characters, favorite thing, like all the time it would be the same verb, could be bath, 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 and the words related to bath, soap, bath, bubble, So their favorite thing is bath. You can teach everything mostly in the bathroom, right? So what is their favorite character? What is their favorite actions? What is a kind of emotions that they get? If you have seen some children, when they're sad as well, they sing their favorite songs.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So this is how they're expressing, because for them, that is the only way to relate to language. That's how they have learned language. So if they sang, they will say, the wheels on the bus go round and the wheels on the bus go. Yeah. So for them, it's how they want to regulate.
So in that particular point, like you just said, they're crying and wheels. I've experienced it myself with my son. So what is the parent supposed to do? You mimic them, you correct them, you redirect them, or you just stop them? What do you do?
That's a good question. So let's say the child, the wheels on the bus go round and round. That means that for them at that point, wheels on the bus go round and round. That tune, that vocabulary is soothing them down. Yeah. And some anxiety is coming up. Okay. So as a therapist, as a mom, it's easy to pick up. Then they are fearing something. They are not in a very safe situation at that point. They're just expressing is through wheels of the bus go. There could be no relation with the wheels on the bus and that feeling. It's just that we know they are dysregulated. That time you will just go and say, just hear that, acknowledge that, and then we can ask, what are you feeling? You can put the AAC on top of them and then ask for options. Wheels on the bus is just a way of expressing there, I'm dysregulated, I'm not feeling safe. But that vocabulary could not match. Where is bus? Where is bills? No, it's just that I am not feeling safe. And this song, this poem, this rhythm is making me feel safe.
So you let them finish and then you intervene.
Yes. So that's how they're venting out. So let them finish, listen, acknowledge, then you give options. You could, of course, I know you would know options 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah,
why
of
they're
course.
so you just give them.
There are always, yeah. And I'm talking more about repetitive speech because this is what I see very often, even with my own twins as well. So how this repetitive speech, how can you turn it into functional communication? Because the biggest struggle that I see around me and with my own self as well, back and forth communication, it's the biggest struggle. Like they will speak to the point and they're very precise, but how are you? Fine. And then you have to ask a question to make the conversation, go in a flow. But they don't want that flow. They're just done. Like, fine. What do you want? Juice. Full stop. I don't want to talk. So how do you increase that, that amount of communication?
Okay.
Or how can you change these repetitive speech patterns into functional speech?
I've seen this mostly children sticking to one specific way of sentence, like I want candy, I want apple, I want bus. There's so many. We don't use I want throughout.
But thanks to ABA.
This
is what they teach them. Yeah.
I've seen that. ABA teaches even speech. First easy way of making sentence is I want. And that's okay at certain point because our first goal is for children to express themselves. So often where we are stuck is we feel that they're able to express now, so we are happy with it. But what's next after that is what we really need to make a plan in. So now they know to request. Requesting is not communication. It's just one part of communication. They don't know how to comment. They need to know how to express. They need to know how to take turns, right? So all of this makes communication. So only one thing that I've seen a lot happening in the field of speech therapy itself is introducing requesting, and then we are not touching any other pragmatic skills. Okay, these are pragmatic skills. Yes. So pragmatic skills, in pragmatic skills, there are skills like commenting on something. You show a picture of apple and say, it's a red apple. Then we give this opportunity to comment what the child feels about it, right? So in the AAC, they would just say, if they use AAC, I eat apple. It's apple is crunchy. So that kind of flow, that's where I've seen a huge gap. And for that, there are actually very specific techniques to use. All right. So we have to really tackle two things. One is their internal motivation to talk during this time. We have to see how are we going to motivate them. The only reason to motivate them is to see what is their sensory preferences and involve them in that sensory preferences. Could be movement, could be not movement-based sensory preferences. Okay. Second thing, they always keep this in the mind. There is a seesaw in the brain, okay? And this seesaw, when the seesaw is straight, that's when you're in an optimal learning zone to use language. When the seesaw is up and down, this side is sensory regulation, this side is language. So when the seesaw is up or down, up, the child is just moving, down, no, I'm not interested, I don't want to talk anything. Communication will not happen that time. When the seesaw in that straight line, that's when you get access to that language to communicate.
Wow.
All right. So make sure that you first see where is my child's brain, up or down or just straight. Then, a little bit up today, maybe a candy or a lollipop on the way. That's fine. You jump with them to do all of this. While jumping, you could talk about it. You don't have to do speech therapy by book. And as I started the podcast, you met one child with autism. It's just one child with autism. So you don't have to go by the book. You don't have to take a card and talk about it. You can do speech therapy what the child likes the most. If the child likes car, you can teach everything with just the car. You don't have to come out of the car. Because if you come out of the car, you will not get that line.
Yeah, that balance.
That will go down. His interest will go down.
Wow.
So again, you cannot forever be in car, but you can, slowly modulate. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. To know where are you in there and to understand where are we connecting. When this line is straight, we are connected with the child. The child would put all the effort to bring the best out of that particular, ability of the child. So if you have that connection, go well and good. If you have connection, you don't have to worry about a repetitive language. Child will mimic your language because you are very well connected in a very well mood of learning. That optimal learning zone is there. So they will just use what are we using in the session. I see a big ball. I see a cat. So if you want, can I have this? Oh, I don't want this. So all these sentences the child is going to mimic. But if they're not there, they would only do what they want to, and they would just not be connected with the therapist.
And then how do you like I see a cat, like I see a cat on the card really well on the table or in the house, but when I go in the playground and I see a cat, I am zoned out. Like, is this a cat? And they're like, like they keep looking at you like a pigeon.
Yes.
So how do you journalize this in situations outside the therapy center or outside the house?
So for this, I would say that we have to always remember this triangle. So our children is on the top of the triangle, and this is therapists, this is families or parents or teachers or whoever is, close related to this child. So we are going with the same line. We have to go in the same pace, same line to this child. Okay. So if you are not very going together, or if you don't know what's happening in the session, or if you don't get any feedback, then the generalization becomes difficult. If you know that the child is ready for generalization, there's a process of generalization that the child will already go through in the session. Then the child will definitely be able to generalize, not 5 out of 10, at least 1 out of 5 times in the trials, right? So one of the major problem that I feel sometimes is this triangle is this side from the therapist side already gone up. Okay.
Parents are down.
Or vice versa as well. Parents are, no, my child can go, and then going up. Your child can do better, because I remember the line that I spoke to you, the seesaw, because you're very well connected with your child with that seesaw. If the therapist were not able to do that seesaw, that's how, right? So for me, generalization really comes when you know how much your child has been achieved and only taking from there. Okay, so that that race of yours and
so
that line should be
go together
to that point.
The therapist and the parents.
Yes.
Teamwork.
Yes, teamwork. Yes, all right.
And then Sana, I have seen a lot of kids, with my own kids as well, they have this habit of mouthing things, pika and paika.
Yes, yeah, right.
You put everything in the mouth.
Yes.
So is it related to speech delays as well, or it's just, it's just sensory seeking?
Okay, so mouthing things again. See, for me, I am more than just a speech therapist. I was a speech therapist only for some years of my life, but then I know that it's not just speech therapy. It's not just related to speech therapy. I have to know child as a whole. The brain and body is always connected.
Yeah.
And speech is just a small part of your body. The mouth is just a small part of your body. So that's when you dig deeper and know about different varieties of reason. So when I see somebody mouthing, I would say, oh, sensory seeking. This would be my observation. But then I gave sensory stimulation, but still sometimes I don't see it going out, right? So there are varieties of reasons for this. One of the reasons, yes, could be sensory seeking. More importantly, in these cases, I want the primitive reflexes to be checked first. Remember,
We'll intervene there. What is a primitive reflex? I've seen a lot of people talk about it. Can you please tell everybody what's primitive reflex?
Okay, so primitive reflexes are movements that babies are born with, and they need to fade away in certain times. At certain time of their growth, they have to fade away. So when they fade away is the time the brain matures. All right. So if they don't fade away, the brain doesn't mature completely. I'll make it easier for you.
Example, one primitive, yeah.
Okay, so basically the primitive reflexes are present in our brainstem. Okay, all the reflexes. So all the things that we talk about now, speech, language, attention, motivation, all the things that we talk about are in the higher cortex, in this side of the brain. Okay, so when primitive reflexes are still actively present in our brainstem, they don't let go to this area of the brain. The connection in these areas of the brain doesn't happen as it should be. Okay, so many a times we give all the possible therapies, we give all the sensory stimulation, but still we see this not, progressing. This is a time when really we have to check, is our foundation right? Are we sorted with this foundation? So if, for example, a child rides a bicycle, okay, and first the child learns with the supporting wheels. Okay. Yeah. After that, you remove the supporting wheel. The child can explore in different areas, slopes and all of that. Having primitive reflex is like a supporting wheels. If you sort that supporting wheels out, your child will explore. The brain will be able to make new neural connection by itself, right? So primitive reflex is like that supporting wheels. We have to check if it is primitive, it is integrated. If it's not, you just have to do some movement along with your therapy to integrate that.
And how do you check if they have faded or
Okay, so there are protocols and tests that we can check. There are symptoms, obviously. Like, for example, we have kids with a lot of motor coordination, balance issues, children with a lot of sensory sensitivities, children with bedwetting, children with mouthing. So these are the major symptoms indicating that they could probably coming from a primitive reflexes not integrated. Because all this, remember, this is how our children start. They explore with putting things in the mouth when they are small.
Yes.
But they don't stop. They keep going, and that's how they reach now, right?
Yeah.
So if they have to go at that certain time. So that's how it is.
Okay, but it can be easily checked and you can easily fix it as well.
Yes. Yeah. It is very easy. You just need a certified therapist, be it OT or PT, who will check it and then make a program. Again, it's depend on a repetition. So you just get a home plan and how many times you need to do at your home.
That's so the bottom line that we got here is that primitive reflexes can be checked by a physiotherapist and an occupational therapist, and they can be fixed.
Yes.
And they will help.
Yes.
It's baseline before stepping into speech.
Yes.
So this might be the answer to all the parents who say that, we have been getting speech therapy for months and months, but it's just few words and there's nothing else. So that could be the answer?
Probably one of the answers, So, for example, if your primitive reflexes are retained, your ability to focus and attention is also get affected. So, for us to make 2 sentence and 3 sentence, we need that focus attention. We need that higher cortical thinking skills. Right? If you're stuck in language, you think that you're just stuck in I want. You're just stuck in apple is red. Leaf is green, that part just there, and not moving progress despite doing a lot of, effort by your speech therapist and you yourself. It's worth checking the primitive reflexes.
Oh, that's amazing. Like primitive reflexes is really important.
Yes.
That was very helpful. And one more thing, Sana, like if I talk about my kids as well, I want cookie, thanks to ABA, they learned it. I want toilet, I want bus, everything is I want. Or children stuck with one word or 2 words. Shifting them to sentences is such a big struggle. And sometimes I've seen speech, they say, it's okay if they're not making sentences, if they can ask for things and if they're, it's fine. So parents, how eager they are for children to move to sentences. So how can they be helped? Or is it actually okay for them to stay with single words?
Okay.
The pathway. As a new parent, I think you're confused. What should be the pattern to follow in speech therapy?
Exactly.
They're teaching them nouns and they're like, don't worry about verbs. Don't worry about adjectives. And you're like, when is he going to say more than one word?
Yeah. See, if you ask me that way, then I would say that communication is important.
Yeah.
Progress is different for different kids. So communication meaning to say that the child able to express without having a behavior, without doing that.
Yeah.
Is what the first priority is.
Yes.
But we can't just be there. The children are growing. We want them to explore the world. We want them to be going to schools. So we can't just stop with that one thing. But that is great. If you have achieved that, that is amazing. We have to definitely move. For us to move in the hierarchy, sometimes the barrier becomes, oh, but they're not able to focus and attend to a higher language.
Yeah.
But they're not able to understand the higher language. So we have, something called higher order thinking skills. So we have to tackle those. And to tackle those, we have to use language by teaching them what we do in a daily life. It's not about teaching them adjective, 100, like 10 adjectives, 10 pronouns. No, it's okay. They will learn it and they will know it, okay? They have a very specific way of teaching and learning, and they will achieve that. But when we take this and relate them to the real life situation, and then give them, okay, this is how, for example, let's say we talk about a lion, and lion is in the middle of this hand. We just stick a lion in the middle of this hand, and then we draw arrow 1, 2, 3, 4. It's very interesting. They wouldn't have seen this, right? So we just say lion. Lion says roar, and then look at the lion. The face is so fearful. So you just make this arrow and make one sentence out of the lion. So we remove the lion, and next day we put their favorite toy, car. So they'll be, oh wow, it has a wheels, blah blah blah. So these are the ways that we can expand their language. If you just stick to that, the communication is there, but that's not enough for life. We need to know how to expand, how to comment, how to take turns. When you know how to make sentences, when you know how to describe a thing more than just one, and there are different components of language, you can do it. It's just that you need to get this, okay? For good, this is lion and this is how you're doing it. But this one now should go this technique to everything in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Everything in the bathroom.
I love that. I'm going to do it.
Everything
Really?
in the supermarket, right? So talking about this is a specific technique called the punch technique. So I started once using with one of my child. He likes to punch, and I had a punch bag in the therapy room, punching. And I just told him, I like to punch, boom. And then second sentence was punch. Let's punch harder, boom. And then third, I will punch 2 times, boom, boom. So I made all this 5 sentences, and last a big punch, and then he really got it. Okay. Yeah. And then we termed it as a punch technique. So everybody started using in the clinic punch technique to improve the higher order thinking skills. Got it? So this is how, for me, my staff say that every year we have agendas on how can we teach language in an innovative manner to these kids. They're really bored of tabletop. They're really bored of the pictures. They're really bored of apples and cats and dogs and all of this.
Yeah.
So we find this, techniques and ideas how we can use our hands,
their favorite thing. They make it fun.
Yes, and with movement.
Yeah.
So we have in a trampoline, we will have those 5 to 6 words specifically used in that trampoline. Jump higher, jump faster, jump slower. So all of that. Slide. This is really good way of generalizing, way of making sentences.
And they enjoy it.
They don't, and the connection is made. So they don't know I have to still look at this picture. Oh my God, this lady will still ask me, okay, come again, try again, do it again. I have to try. Nothing interesting. It's the same picture that I saw last.
So you literally go down to their level. Yeah,
yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I really like this punch technique.
Yes.
And Sana, one more thing here is I really wanted to keep a section for it. Pain expression. My kids know how to say tummy, how to say this, but when it's pain, it's like they're zoned out.
Yes.
So how do you teach expressions? Because I've seen speech therapy put a sad face and a happy face. Oh, who's sad, who's happy? But they're not interested. When it comes to real life, those things, they fail. So expressing pain, because now they're growing up, I'm particularly talking about my kids who are 11. How do you teach them pain expression? That's
Yes.
my biggest struggle, and I really
This is
wanted to
actually a struggle until and unless that they're let's say it's interdisciplinary approach that we have to use, particularly in this case, okay? Because it really comes from the interoception one. They really need to know the pain, the feeling of the pain, and they need to, relate this pain to any kind of, why they see it happy and sad is because they just want to relate pain to sad. But sometimes pain is not sad. Pain is, worried. Pain is painful, so we need to give that meaning to that feeling, okay? So there are so many ways we can do. One of the easier ways we can do when they're not in pain, I love to do this game with kids, just pinch them because they really need to feel it.
Yeah.
I tell this all the time to my therapist, unless and until you don't really feel anything, you can't teach that relation with that word. So when the child is not in pain, start using it as soon as your child is 5 years old. Okay?
Pinch.
Ouch, pain. Where is it? Show me where is it. Here.
Hand. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes they know it's pain and they will say in the app, pain, 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 but they don't know how to point where.
Yeah.
So this is very important. Just do this and then, ouch, where? Here. And then you can take a red mark and put it here, round or square. So you just really need to focus from the beginning.
So do they need to know the body parts as well?
Yes. So basically they need to have body awareness for this. They need to have some, they would definitely have some kind of interoception, some level of interoception. So they need to feel the feeling first. Yeah. Most important is feel the feeling.
Okay.
So for children who are bumping a lot, who are hitting a lot, their tactile system is under-registered sometime. They really don't feel that pain when it is on the surface of the skin, right? So we need to first know, are they really feeling it? Okay? And most of our kids really do because they have been taking OT for a long time, therapy for a long time, and they really do, and their interoception is building. So in that case, we really need to teach this pain concept from the beginning. This is, I tell all the parents, hunger, pain. Because when they are used to having pain and not expressing it, they will not learn it,
Yeah.
So we have to start from the very early age, pain. This is pain. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Exaggerate it. And then put a mark on it. Put a band-aid simply on it. Just to make sure,
Do dramas.
Yeah. So all these are the ways that we have to start doing. And as early as possible. You think 3 years and they're potty trained and all of this, that means they know they have some level of interoception. Start with that, Yeah. And in various things, you just try to put, because we want then now, because in terms of teaching language, we also have something called pretend play sometimes. Try to put finger on some surface. Oh, why it's stuck? It's painful, Try to improve all these real life situations for them.
So what I'm getting so far is like speech, put speech in the real life situations.
It's out of the speech therapy room, basically.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. Yes. It sounds interesting to me, even listening to it. And Sana, we are living in an era, like I always say, thank God for these times that we have new techniques and,
exactly.
it's such a blessing. We are talking about AAC and PECS. Can you really quickly tell parents what is PECS first? Because PECS came before AAC.
Before AAC, yes.
And then we'll move to AAC. What's PECS? What age should you start it? And what is the sign that your child is ready for PECS or they are always ready for PECS?
Yes. So for me, let's put AAC and PECS as both as AAC for now, and then I'll tell you what is AAC and PECS. For me, whenever you think that child is dysregulated, is in discomfort because he cannot communicate, straight away give the AAC. Don't wait. There is no need of waiting for AAC. You can still work on your Apraxia program. You can still work on your vocabulary. You can still work on all of this. First and foremost, make child that he can give the communication right there, right away. Don't just wait, okay? And we should make the child feel that I have been heard. People know what I want to say. I can express it through a system, all right? So that is important first. Second, regarding PECS and AAC, I have a different school of thought, and it's okay because we all have different way of thinking. So for me, if we want to have the highest version of iPhones. If nobody wants to hold a Nokia phone and not have WhatsApp and not have Facebook
Yeah.
and Instagram, we want our children to live in that era as well. So for me, I don't think that you have to go through PECs first and then come to AAC. Whenever your child is ready, you can start using AAC right away, because we want to use iPhone 12, 16, 15.
I'd just like to intervene here because I had a BCB in the last episode, and his opinion, as you said, everybody has
Yes.
a different opinion. He said you need to start from PECs and then move to AAC.
Yes.
But for me, like, for example, I'll give you my case. For me, PECs was not a thing because my kids will just stare the cards, and they were not into cards, but
Yes.
because they loved screen.
Yes.
So AAC was more better for me.
smoother, yeah.
So do you agree that PECs is the first step and then you move to AAC?
I don't do PECs first. I used to. I told you my 7 years of speech therapy was
Journey.
different.
Yeah.
I used to definitely do, because schools taught us that way. That's right. Schools taught us that way, that PECs should be first. Children should identify the pictures and then tell them which is what and all of that. So for me, it doesn't really matter. For me, AAC is a technology that can be used in a different types and different ways. So if you just introduce that picture in a screen and just touch that screen, and the screen tells the word open, that's it. You don't have to complicate things for kids, especially
Then-
they're going through a lot.
The biggest worry that parents have here is that, if a child is saying few words, he might become dependent on the screen. I'm
Yes.
sure you must have
Yes,
heard
yes,
it a lot.
it's a
that,
lot, yeah.
My child is speaking. What if he becomes dependent and becomes mute and lets the screen do the work?
Yes. So actually, the studies shows vice versa, and I have seen also that even if your child is minimally speaking or non-verbal, if you think that child knows a lot and you want more expression, more to get out of this child, then AAC is the solution for the child, even if they are minimally speaking. Okay. Only thing is, you need to have a boundaries of using that and controlling where the child is navigating in AAC. Okay, so I have really seen families who use AAC whenever needed, who use AAC all the time. So we have to start by using AAC all the time, so that children know the use of AAC is this, and then slowly fade away and give them whenever needed only. Example for minimally speaking children, like children can say, I want car, I want to go out, but I want to go out where? Maybe that supermarket word is too difficult, they're not saying. Then you can show them the AAC with the places. Right? So I want to go just supermarket, he might press. So I have been using this blended approach as well, and just AAC as well. Both works well. It's just you need to identify where are your kids.
But eventually the goal is that, the child can open the iPad and say, like,
Yes.
But what I feel is when they're angry, nothing works. Like, they don't want to look at the tab. They don't want to look at the PEX card. They are zoned out. They're angry. Like, it doesn't work.
When
So-
they're angry, they shouldn't be. You have to give them that 1 second or 1 minute of expressing the anger, whichever way they are. And then acknowledge, okay, I understand, I see you're upset. Then you bring a system and then show. So when they're angry and let's say they're flopping, they're on the floor and they're hitting on the ground, okay?
You don't give them at that time.
Yeah, so we just make sure, okay, I feel it, I see it. What is it? Is it the light? Is it the sound? Is it this place? Is it that? Just figure out and then give that space and everything. And later you relate this incident to something in the iPad. What was that you're going through? What was not good in that place? Show me. So
Yeah. And is there any specific age to start AAC?
No, not actually, as early as possible. I don't wait. So let's say if a child is even 3 years, if the therapist is very strong enough to identify that there is a neural reason for this, it's coming from apraxia, the motor planning is really poor, it might take longer than expected for a child to talk, then we be very realistic to the parent. You offer the
switch.
parent, along with this, we will do this. This is what. And we've had a case, 3 years, which parent was, okay, fine, we'll do whatever you'd say, started it, and we don't use AC anymore because the child is verbal. So it really helps children to express.
And since we are so paranoid with words as a form of communication, and parents who have got diagnosis of non-speaking, non-verbal autism, do you give them this hope that your child might speak or the words will come out using these techniques? Or because, there's the studies that says that 25% of the kids on the spectrum might not speak. So what's your message to them, the parents who are so worried about the words coming out and completely sidelining these things that we're talking about, that words is not the only form of communication. They can speak through the tab, they can speak through PECs, they can speak through sign language. So what do you tell to the parents who come to you with a diagnosis of nonverbal autism and they tell you, is my child going to ever speak?
Yes. So you are right. What I will say is, will all the children in autism speak? I'm not worried about that. But as a therapist, all the children in autism or speech delay should be able to communicate. Okay, so communication is the bottom line. But for you, you have to really get there to know that if your child is nonverbal or not. Many a times I've seen this a lot in the last 2 years, that we have been labeling the kids nonverbal, giving them the iPad, the AAC, they are beautifully working with it, but there is no trials of, he's nonverbal. But actually he's not. If you have done it, if you have given that motor planning for kids, if you have worked in that way, he would have spoken. So we have children who've been started with using AAC beautifully in different countries, especially we have 3 to 4 kids from the UK who have moved from UK to here just for therapy, and they've been using AAC beautifully, saying that they're non-verbal, but at this year they are starting to speak. So they have at least some vocabulary of 25 to 50 words. They can use it, when they want. Like, instead of looking at the screen, Mama, help. That's it.
Yeah.
Then you just build on with AAC. So before just getting to the bottom line, no, my child is autistic, I just want to stick on the screen. I'm not a strong believer of that. You have to see what is the possibility that we can help the child to communicate. If things are not working, if you're seeing that they're really struggling, we give the AAC, but we still try to have the speech out from there.
So there is hope. Like,
there is.
You can't say that there is no way of communication.
No, not
They're
at all.
different.
Because I've seen 17 years old, not speaking at all, nothing, just AAC, and doing intensive speech therapies. It's just not the way of therapy they needed. But when we give that help, when we give that motor planning, equipments for them, when you give them that specific needed prompt, they did, but with a lot of trials, of course, but they did speak. So, yeah.
So I think it's you get into the right hands when it comes to speech therapy. So with that, I'll ask you this question. How do you evaluate the speech therapists and the center that they're doing right? You need to stick with them, and whatever they're doing is working. How do you evaluate the speech therapists?
So I just focus with your kid, okay? So if you think your child is making progress the way you want with the goals you have given. So basically, when a child's goal is being made, it's not just made by the therapist. If the therapist just decides the goal will be 1, 2, 3, and 4, that's not a teamwork. So therapist decides the goal and then sit with the family to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the goal. What do you think? What is your goal for your child? So, of course, the parent's goal will be, I want my child to speak. But the therapist wouldn't agree, oh, yes, your child will speak in 3 months. No, that's not the right way. Okay, I understand. But that is a long-term goal. The short-term goal of that, your child to first imitate the vowels and bilabials towards speaking is already agreed here using these techniques 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so we need to know that is the techniques using right. Everybody is good. Everybody is putting their 100%. Everybody is putting a lot of effort for our children. But sometimes some are not expertise in that. So we have to make sure, are those expertise certified or just trained? That's what we need to know. And one more important thing is you to know what's happening in the session.
Yeah.
You should have all the right just to get in the center. Can I just go to my kids' therapy room and check what's happening? Yes, of course. The door is open, you can go. But if you just allow to drop the child and then go and then come back to pick, that's not,
It's not good. It's a
that's
teamwork.
it's a teamwork. So you really need to know that what's happening on a day-to-day basis, not monthly, not progress in 3 months, on a day-to-day basis. You don't have to sit all the time. You can go and come back and talk in the last 10 minutes. What is my homework today?
Be involved.
Yes, that's
And
be
how
involved.
much therapy sessions do you recommend usually for a child when he comes to you?
Okay, so basically we always give a bracket for them. Okay, so they can even start with 1 session of speech, 2 session of speech, or 5 session of speech.
Wow.
Okay,
5 is a lot.
okay, so but only thing is with this bracket we just divide the goals. Okay, if it's 1, we will do 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is a home plan. You do more on a day-to-day basis.
So home plan is a must. I'm
Yes.
hearing this word
Yes.
2-3 times from you.
Yes,
So,
yes.
okay.
And being connected with the parents is the must.
Sana, like we are moving to the last 2-3 questions. We are talking about AAC. For that, we need an iPad, a screen. So we see kids who are obsessed with the screens, and then parents, they cut down the screen, and because it's making them go really, over the board. You have seen kids obsessed with the screens, and for AAC, you need screen.
Yes.
So how do you manage that? Do you need a separate iPad? Or a separate tab for the AEC device and a separate one for play? Or you don't have a screen for play, you only keep screen for communication? How does that work?
Okay. So what I don't know, this is my school of thought again. So I do not want this screen. This is a screen. This is for speech. This is for you press and it makes sounds for you to talk. I want the screen has a safe device for children. They should be connected to the screen. Like, this is a device, this is my voice, that kind of feeling you have to get from your child, right? So that is why when we made a app that is a speech sync, we made sure that device get connected with the child. We made sure it's not just the speech, it's about the communication. There is language, there is games just within the app, so that when the child feels bored or when the child feels I am not safe, they can just open it and then regulate themselves by just playing that game that anyway stimulates their different parts of the brain, right? So this, for me, the AAC should be a feel safe thing, or something that the child feels I know to, it's my voice, I can be connected to it. This is something that is going to speak to the whole world. I am at that school of thought that you should have that real connection with your AAC. AAC is not something that you want to use. Okay, just use the tab, press 1, and then give the tab back to me. No, you really have to want that, a connection with the AAC. This is what I feel, because if you do like that, then again you're making communication as a structure for them.
Wow.
Right?
I get it.
So I like structured therapy, and I do structured therapy as well, but it should be a play based, and our children only like play. They love when it is fun, when it is interactive.
Yeah.
So whatever your plan is, just make sure there is a component of fun, movement, interaction involved in it. Don't make it too structured that, okay, I will only give you a screen when you want to press, and then I'll take the screen away. Don't do all of this.
Yeah. So you just mentioned you have a particular app. It's called what, and where is it available?
So it's called Speech Sync AAC. It's available in Play Store and App Store as well. And the difference between the Speech Sync and other apps are, first and foremost, it is made by the speech therapist for the first time. So we have been using all the apps for 2 years, and we just wrote down what the parents need the most, what was missing in the other apps, just to develop a new one. And we just, for all the apps, this is what we understood, that it is been very structurally used with kids. Kids just don't use it with love. It's just that they use it because they're forced to use it. We want child to feel this as a safe place, communicate, connect with the world. So, and that's the reason as well, we put language-based activities so you can learn language as well. So there are games that red apple goes to the red basket, something like that. So there are games, and there is a one tap emergency button. You press that button, the message goes to your iWatch saying that your child needs help, just help. So it's like a connection between you and the teacher or the shadow teacher or the school. So there are so many things. Even for Just Start Language Processor, there are different sections where they can learn language with chunks. Just relate every word to a chunk of sentence from the rhyme. So that's how it is.
That sounds amazing. I'm going to download it. Speech Sync.
Speech Sync AC, yeah.
And quickly to the last question, low laser light therapy is something you're doing. What exactly is it? Quickly, if you can tell us, and how does it help children on the spectrum and with speech as well?
Okay, all right. So what we are doing, all speech therapy, occupational therapy, ABA therapy, we are all doing for one reason, that is neuroplasticity. We want all the information going to the brain, making neural connections, sending it to the body, and the result to come out, right? So this is why we are doing what we are doing, okay? So this light is a non-invasive, no pain, just a light, very gentle, that goes on specific areas of the brain to give that extra energy push to that neurons to connect a bit faster, to decrease inflammation, and works in a cellular level. So for example, if your child has speech delay and you have been taking therapy for a long time and you don't see any progress, it's because whatever therapy you're giving, that is not making any change here. This is what controls the whole thing, yeah? So for this, then you go to the speech centers, speech zones, that is important. Maybe the motor coordination, the movement is not happening. So you go to the motor strip and stimulate that specific areas while you give speech therapy.
With the laser light. So it's a device.
It's a device, just like a pen, it just goes on the head. Right?
So while you're doing the therapy, somebody is doing
this. Yeah.
So is it successful so far?
It is. It is successful, and it is painless. Children don't, even if you have sensory issues, it's not like you have to wear it, or it's not like they feel it. They don't feel anything. It's just a light. That's it.
That's amazing. So we will take a promise from Sana that she'll give us a tour of the speech clinic very soon, because I would love to see this being used in the center. And Sana, if somebody wants to connect with you, do you have a page? Or the speech clinic is the name of the place, and we are loving it. So if somebody wants to connect with
you, they can message the Speech Clinic Dubai. That is an Instagram page. We are very active, and you will receive the reply in maybe 1 or 2 hours. That's it.
Thank you so much, Sana. There's so much to talk about speech. It's very close to us parents, and it was lovely to have you. And I'll have you one more time, because there's so many questions I'm getting on Insta, but we're running out of time. It was my pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
And I'd love to show you all the speech clinic, hopefully very soon, because I'm really excited to see how I've been looking at your videos. Yes. You guys are really interactive with the kids, and it's beautiful to see. So we will visit you soon, inshallah. And thank you so much one more time. And to all of you listening and struggling with your child, speech therapy, and you wish they start talking and speaking soon, I get you, because I have 2 kids who are non-speaking, who have few words. But to be really brutally honest, I want to tell you, they were non-speaking. They had no words until they were 5. Now they have few words, few sentences, and I'm really proud of them, because they have come a very long way. You need to understand that you are getting frustrated as a parent that your child is not able to express and speak. You need to go down to their level and understand their frustration as well. So verbal or not, every child has a voice. It's just that as a parent, you need to find the way to crack that. And, PECS, AEC, using a tablet to speak, or sign language, just provide them any form of communication and you're good to go. Do not become obsessed with words as the only form of communication. We live in an era, we live in times where we are so lucky, as we were speaking, that there are so many forms of communication. So broaden your vision as well. Do not become obsessed with the words only, and let these little angels communicate with you in any form they are comfortable with. So until the next episode of the Warrior Mommy podcast, lots of love and tons of power to you in this roller coaster like journey. See you.